You're making 10,000, 20, 30,000 a month with your online education business and you're a musician. This video is going to show you how to break the ceiling. So I'm going to show you how I scaled past my first $100,000 month and the shift that made it all click. So if you're new here, my name is Paul the Trombonist. I'm a trombone player that's built multiple 7-figure businesses, and I now help other musicians do the same. So I'm going to show you what took me from teaching private lessons, one-on-one lessons, doing everything myself, to building a business that generates multiple 6 figures a month, and doing it in a way that doesn't allow you to be so burnt out with your time. And it's a concept I'm going to talk about called leverage today. And this is the blueprint that I wish someone else handed me when I first started. So even if you apply it, even if just a fraction of what we talk about today, it's going to impact your presence online, and it'll never be the same ever again once you implement what I'm going to share with you. Most online educators never break past, let's say, around 30,000 a month, and they're stuck in what I like to call the technician trap. So they're good, they're actually great at what they do. However, they're doing everything. They are doing all the fulfillment, they're doing all the marketing, they're doing all the sales, they're doing all the tech, they're doing all the email copy, they're responding to all the DMs, they're doing all the troubleshooting, they're doing everything. And they keep saying to themselves, well, once I make, if I'm at like 50,000 a month, or I'm at this amount a month, then I'll get the help. So the problem with that in reality is it never quite comes, and you don't scale into the freedom. So you build it by stepping out of the way. That's really how we do this. This is a concept I want to share with you that actually my financial advisor shared with me when I was building my business, and it really had a huge impact on me. It completely changed the way I looked at everything. And he used to say, okay, Paul, so I know you're a perfectionist at what you do and you're good at what you do and you want to do everything. Let me just break something down with you. So you, by yourself, you're performing at 100%, right? I'm like, yeah, I'd like to think so. And he's like, okay, so let's just say that you have somebody that is maybe 60% of your ability. Let's say you have 2 people that are 60% of your ability. When you put those together, they're now at 120% of your ability. And then I never really thought about it that way. Chances are they'll probably be better than 60% of your ability. It's just, even if they were only 60% of your ability, if there's 2 of them, they're going to outperform you, because even at yourself, you can only perform at 100%. And then when you look at it that way, you realize the power of what's called leverage. Really what happens is when you layer the systems on top of that, that's how it becomes predictable. And what kept me stuck in the past wasn't the lack of leads. It was just I guess it was your ego. It's my ego, right? It's like I felt I could do everything the best. So I wanted to take control and do everything, and I was scared. And we'll talk about that in a second. I was scared on how to let go. And what happens is when you get the right people, this is what I want you to realize too about when you are building your team, is that you shouldn't hire for the position. You should hire for the person in the seat of the position. Because if you hire for the seat of the position, then what happens is they will evolve into whatever role you want them to be in. So if you're holding on to every task because you're thinking to yourself, well, nobody's as good as me, you are actually choosing to stay small. And the day I got out of my way, that's when my business took off. And then I chose the right people in the role, and then they take off. And then they're all like mini clones of me now. That's what it has. They've been so around the culture that it creates when they're around you so much. They're like little mini clones of you. And then they get closer to your 100%. And then now you get like 4 or 5 people on your team. You're now performing at 500-600% of your ability than you would alone. So I want you guys to think about that. Maybe the real reason that you haven't hired yet isn't because you don't know how, it's because you're scared. And that's a very common thing, is like, I'm scared it won't work. I'm scared they will mess it up. I'm scared that I'll waste money hiring them. A team doesn't just help you scale. It actually, and this was huge for me, it makes you accountable. So sometimes if we're in the solopreneur world and we're doing everything alone, we get comfortable and we're like, oh, I'll get to that later. Da, da, da. However, when you have other people that are kind of dependent on you here, it holds you accountable to make sure that you're doing your end of the job, allows them to do their job. So when you bring someone on, you can't slack. If you don't do your job, they can't do theirs. So that pressure, that structure, it makes you sharper. If hiring feels like a giant leap, then don't leap. So this is what I recommend. So just start with one position, okay? And then make a list of everything that you are doing and what are the biggest needle movers and what could you not delegate right now. So you got to think about, what can I automate, what can I delegate, and what can I eliminate. First, that's what you got to do with your schedule. Once you have that, then you want to think about, okay, what is taking up the majority of my time right now? And what could I delegate to someone? I just need one person. Start with one person. Start what is taking up the most amount of my time that I would like to get off my plate. I would like this to grow into something. However, I would like to try something. And let's start with a trial. And let's do this for X amount of days. And then we'll see how it goes. And if it works out for both of us, we can have another conversation about the future of this, and hopefully it can grow into something special. Sound cool? Sound fair? Boom. And then that relieves the pressure that you don't feel like you have to commit, right? And then if they're delivering, it should be growing your business, and then you're in a better position, and then it eliminates the fear for getting that extra help. So I was able to get to my first $100,000 a month completely alone, and I was really burnt out at that time. And I was doing everything. I was doing the marketing, I was doing the calls, I was doing the fulfillment, I was doing everything. So in order to grow the pie, you need to be willing to give up more of your pie. And that's a great thing, because everyone wins like that. So once I stopped thinking like a technician, I started to act like a CEO. You want to think about it like you're the brains, and then everyone else is like the hands. Think about it as a conductor. You're the conductor, and then everyone else is the orchestra. And that's how you can look at growing this business. And you start with just one person and start from there. So there's really 3 levers that you want to break. First one is the offer structure. So your offer needs to scale. First, you need to know that it's amazing, it's converting, everyone's excited, everyone's happy about the fulfillment, the sales process is solid, and then you can prove yourself, and then you have leverage too when you bring someone in, because if they're not performing, you say, well, look, when I was doing it like this, it converts like this. So then that way no one has an excuse as well, and you just prove yourself. So once it's proven, once it's cool, once you've closed deals and it converts, it will put you in a position to build out your company. You have to first have leverage is your team building, and then you have to have leverage on your fulfillment. And the best leverage that I've ever found is this hybrid model where it's the mastermind, where it's the group calls. And that allows you to scale these things like crazy. And we help musicians to scale these group coaching programs, and it gives you your time back. People get amazing results. You can see my other video where I talk about why the group model is superior in this time period. So it's good for the business owner, and it's also good for the students. And we found it works both ways, and it creates a flywheel. It creates a win-win for both the company and the customer. And 2, systems that sell without you. So you need to have whatever you need to do. I always like to think about this. Can I automate this? Can I delegate this? Or can I eliminate this? So we want to automate as much as possible. We want to automate, the email sequences. So you want to have systems in place for onboarding, how you structure the payments, what to do in this situation. And then you create almost like a portal for your team. It's almost like another program for your team. And that lets it go really smooth and really efficiently. And 3, a small but mighty team. So you can do a lot with a little powerful team. Only a few people on your team can take your business to very healthy numbers with very high profit margins. First, you have to have a premium offer, have a group coaching program that fulfills on the premium offer. And then from there, if you have a few people on your team, it's amazing. I stopped playing every instrument, and then I became the conductor. And that's really what you want to do to scale past this $100,000 threshold. You're closer than you think. So you don't need a huge following. You don't need giant content. You don't need 12-hour-a-day hustles. You just need clarity on your offer, clarity on your systems, clarity on your team, and most importantly, clarity on who you're becoming. Are you a technician forever? Do you want to be stuck in the business, or do you want to be the founder of a movement? Think about all the great brands that you look up to. They are the vision, and that's a lot of where your energy will transition. Once you get past the $100,000 a month mark, your energy is more on vision. I mean, vision burns calories too. That's the thought. Just a couple meetings a day can change the trajectory of your whole company by the way you lead people. And that's what you'll start to realize once you transition into that role of more of the CEO, the conductor of the orchestra. So if you're ready to scale past that threshold of $100,000 a month, so you just want a full blueprint to break 10, 30, 20, 30, 50,000 consistently, I do have that free class in the description. I also have a free group. If you're into this content, don't forget to subscribe and hit like, and let me know in the comment section what your biggest takeaway is from this, what else you would like to learn from me. And appreciate you tremendously. It's Paul the Trombonist signing off.